Adriana, what did you witness over the July 4th holiday weekend?
Elaine, it was surreal. Just as we were arriving to one crime scene, we were hearing reports over the police scanner there was another shooting just a mile away from where we were. This was going on through the night. Now, it was 4th of July, the very holiday, so there were fireworks going on all over the south and west sides. You could hear the fireworks, but at some points we didn't know if there were fireworks or perhaps gunshots. Now, locals told us they know the difference because, unfortunately, they're used to this, and police were really out in force to show their presence. But folks are going to come outside. It's July 4th in Chicago. People in the areas where we were all outside in some sections, crowding the sidewalks, and police were worried that because you have so many people there drinking, that there was potential for there to be some kind of conflict. We saw ourselves with our very own eyes a crime scene where there was a man who had been shot in the head. We saw his body laying on the ground. He was covered with a blanket. We were waiting to try to see when the coroner's office would come to retrieve the body. We were there for 2 hours. Eventually, we had to leave, and his body was still laying there, perhaps a sign of how many shootings, how many murders they had to respond to.
Oh, it's a real situation. Well, last week, Adriana, Chicago police, ATF agents, and Illinois State Police formed a new task force to crack down on gun violence. What have you learned about the city's response to violent crime and what they're doing to combat it?
Well, they're trying anything they can. Last year and the year before, they tried to really increase the number of police officers out on the streets. That didn't seem to work. Now there's more coordination with this new announcement between federal and state agencies, intelligence, to try to really focus in on the illegal guns. But these guns are coming from everywhere. We've spoke to people who showed us their guns, who said they can get a gun like that in Chicago. So now what the focus seems to be, they're shifting a little bit to try to track down these guns, track the guns that they retrieve, see where they come from. But we also heard from law enforcement that although they made this to sound like a new announcement, they've been working with these agencies for some time now, but now they seem to be publicizing it, perhaps timed just before the holiday weekend.
And Adriana, I know you also spoke with people who were involved in violence themselves. What did they say about their lives in Chicago?
Those are some really hard conversations to have, Elaine. People were talking about their experiences here, growing up without structure. People talking about unstable family lives and really, only seeing things transpire in front of them that they want to replicate, like people selling drugs, like people getting guns. There's a feeling here that we heard a lot, which is people are more comfortable and think it's less of a risk to go out with a gun, even though it carries a prison sentence, than without a gun, because they know that there's a target on their back. People feel like what they're missing here is opportunity. They want opportunities to do things outside of what they continuously see to try to break the cycle.
So, meantime, Adriana, Illinois is in the middle of a budget stalemate and the state is running out of money. How are those fiscal issues impacting law enforcement in the city?
Directly, Elaine. I mean, one example is there have been budget cuts to a program that uses people who are part of the community to try to identify, who work to identify potential conflicts and go out and try to mediate those conflicts, stop those conflicts before they start and before they get violent. There have been cuts to those programs, and those are programs that are necessary in these neighborhoods because people tell us they need people from the inside trying to help them. There is, of course, tension with the police department. So one of the effects and one of the results of the budget issues happening now in the state are that there are less resources to go toward these community programs that try to end the violence from within.
All right, Adriana Diaz in Chicago. Adriana, thanks so much.
Thanks, Elaine.
You can watch the first installment of CBSN On Assignment on July 31st at 10 p.m. Eastern on CBS and on CBSN. The rest of the episodes will air Monday nights in August.